Good evening to all my viewers and watchers, and peace to all my loved ones, and salutations to all my extended ones. Today we have a special guest, underline that special guest, who's going to talk about things in the community, things of that nature, and his humble beginnings. I would like him to introduce himself, if he may.
Indeed. Peace, peace. Brother Student Minister Kelvin X. I am the Student Minister at Muhammad's Mosque number 14, Hartford, Connecticut, under the leadership and guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Okay, well, what we're going to do, we're going to fast forward this, and we're going to be real concise and real. We're going to elaborate on some things, questions that I'm going to ask him, which may help a lot of you in the community to know what to do, especially with your children. And he can enlighten you on how to go about things and how to reach them as we progress. It is afoot right now. So, brother, how you doing, love?
Well, sir.
I know this man for like since 1982, 40 years to be exact. It's equivalent. I did the math already, so there's no question in that. But anyway,
It's a good number.
to me, that I will say that to me, subjective to me, and suffice to say that you are a pillar of the community.
Praise God.
And the questions that I have for you is like, what are things in our community that we have to fix, things of that nature, especially us black folks, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's really, it's a no-win situation for us.
Yes, indeed.
And so I would like you to let the people know that what you're doing for the community and what you're trying to accomplish, not just for the children, but as for adults also,
Sure.
who can come and,
Sure.
that he can outreach to you guys and give you some enlightenment and how to structure your home, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a teacher as well as a student.
As
You know what I'm
well
saying?
as-
Let
that's
them know
right.
about what
That's
you're
right.
doing for the community and how they can reach you and things of that nature.
Sure.
And what you're embarking on,
Sure,
your humble beginnings.
So first I want to say thank you, brother, for having me here. You and my brother Break is,
Yes.
is very close and dear to my heart. We come from humble beginnings, and it's so funny. I just saw someone tag me up in a post on Facebook, and I shot back "I love you" to the brother, and you want to keep that out there, right? And I shot I love you out to the brother, right? And I put ESP, right? Now, if you ain't from there, you don't know that.
Okay.
All right, that goes way back, okay? But when I talk to my students, I love to start the dialogue or conversation off with, I grew up in Phil, and a lot of times, they'll say stuff like, "I knew it. I knew you wasn't from the neighborhood. You from Enfield?" I said, "Yeah, Enfield Street."
Yes.
All right.
They missed that part.
Enfield and Greenfield, to be more precise.
Yeah.
And although I wasn't born here in Hartford, Connecticut, my mom's raised me here, straight off the North End, going to Vine Street School, Fox Middle, right, MLK, and then I graduated from Weaver. And it was a beautiful time in the mid '80s, especially for a young black man in terms of coming up where the music still had meaning, right? Conscious hip hop was still very alive, and so early on, I started to pick up on hip hop. I started to pick up on the conscious messages. I think when Chuck D said Farrakhan's a prophet, and I think you ought to listen to him. You know what I'm saying? I said, "Oh, let me go check this out," right? But I first gained knowledge of self when I was about 16, I believe it was, and it was actually my physical, my cousin, my blood cousin. He had joined the Nation of Gods and Earths, and then he shared that knowledge with me, and I just went in a little deeper, and just continued to study, and high school was different from then on. There was no difficult classes. Mathematics was our thing, right? Being able to use words to awaken the mind, awaken the consciousness, that was all just part of who we were and still are. And again, the music backed it up, right? So you had Rakim, you had KRS-One, come on, Queen Latifah, right? Just Ice, right? These folks were all sharing that same kind of knowledge that we were studying and espousing at that time. You know, went through getting out of high school. Anyone that's heard my story, you know, I tell my young people my story, and that is, you know, I was a street pharmacist, as we say, right? In acquisitions and distribution, right? And so they get a kick out of that right there, you know what I'm saying?
Famous terms, huh?
Man, what you was I said, yeah, that's right, you know what I'm saying? I hustled out there, you know what I'm saying? And you know, kept moving and kept gaining some knowledge. I had my first child in 1989, and that took me off of the streets, you know, and you know, for me it was like I knew my choices, and it was kind of limited. I was either going to be here, right, or here. I was going to be in prison, or I was going to be dead at some point, you know. And I tell my story to my young people all the time. You know what I'm saying? I said I beat the odds by the grace of God, by the grace of God. They don't know that they have a target on their back, and that's our job to let them know that there is a target on their back. And as we get into some of this right here, y'all got to excuse the condition of this sign, but this sign get around a lot. All right, that mean this sign do a lot of good work in the community, and we'll talk about that in a second. And you know, 85, 10 years went by real fast, brother. Next thing I know, it was 1995. I was in the Million Man March, you know, the Million Man March, and I was helping to organize the Million Man March from Hartford. Hartford was one of the few cities in America that shut down the school district in order to allow us to take the children, you know what I'm saying, to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And so, you know, by this time, I had transitioned out of the Nation of out of the 5%ers into the Nation of Islam. So I had actually joined the nation, and that's how I got my X. For those of you out there, you know that Malcolm X, you have to earn that. And so, so I earned the X, and I just started soldiering, you know, and ups and downs and back and forth. But probably about 8 years ago, I became the student minister. And a lot of folks say, well, where's the minister? Say, you know, Minister Farrakhan is the minister, and we are his students.
Exactly.
And so, you know, still on that same mission, on that same mission. And my shirt really tells what the mission is.
Hilford.
Up. Yeah. Hill, watch this. Hill, Hartford.
Let's get it right. Elaborate on that. Question for you. I gotta ask a question for you, right?
No problem.
Listen, like far as you know, we have a lot of single parents out here, far as especially mothers, and especially raising, you know, not taking nothing away from raising the daughters, but raising young adolescents. You know what I'm saying? Where do you see, especially like young black adolescents? Like I said, I don't mean to repeat myself, but where do you see them going off? At what tender age do you see the young black adolescents veering off to the left, where they might be going into a self-destructive stage, like becoming rebellious? And, you know what I'm saying? When do you see that? And why? And how?
Man, let's see how much time we got, right?
Yeah, but if you want to keep that this up, you can break that down in one and simplify it, right? You're able to do that.
I can. You know, everything starts right from home. Everything starts from home, and you know, we came up with parents who, for the most part, probably came from the South or had some type of Southern connection, and so we were raised with some old school values, right? Stuff like, you know, hard head make a soft behind. You know what I'm saying? You make your bed hard, you're gonna have to lay in it, right? How many times I gotta tell you, right? Stuff like that. We came up with some old school values that said you had to be in the house before the street lights come on. Okay, don't let me catch you playing with him. I told you not to be playing with him. Those kinds of things. It was some old school boundaries, right, that were in place. And even though the world, right, was tearing at the family structure, and you know, I can be, you know, frank here, right? It's been tearing at the black family structure for over 400 years. But in the modern day, in the modern sense, we really see the manifestation, the breakdown of the family, with the first attack being on the male, the man. So when the man is out of the home, right, the sister, the mother, now she has to play both the mother role and the father role. And that's a lot of pressure on her. You know what I'm saying? And so the child is coming up, walking, if you will, with an imbalance, right? Because they're injured. They don't have both legs. You got really one strong leg, right? And the other leg is kind of weak, all right? And most times that's us, because the men have been attacked and under attack, so then we're not right there. Bottom line, it is the home. It is the home, and that is not to say that the home is wrong. I was watching one of your earlier casts, and it was talking about the dysfunction, right? The dysfunction, and that just simply means that it's not functioning, if you will, at its most optimal level, right? And so, you know, we don't put any blame, you know, on the black family, because we understand that the black family has been targeted and victimized, right? And so mothers, if we didn't have mothers, we wouldn't be here today, all right? So the black woman has been holding us down, you know what I'm saying, and being both mother and father. But at the same time, you know, little Johnny trying to come off the porch, right?
Smell itself a little bit.
Listen, and they coming off the porch earlier and earlier. And with the advent of these phones, I got mine around here somewhere, but these phones, right? Yeah, that you letting the whole world in. You know, when we grew up, a phone was on the wall.
That's all you had.
Had a long cord attached to it.
Rotary joints.
Okay.
However, but yo, and listen, Harvey wanted to ask this question. He got two questions he wanted to ask.
Okay.
Like, what happened to the programs and grants, like as a back in the days that we used to go to inner city exchange and Camp Currents and things and night gyms and that?
Yeah.
Are they still around, or they've been extracted on the low? Because I don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Because that played a major part too.
It did, because
as opposed to, for me and a lot of my guys that grew up, we had fun. We used to stay out of a lot of trouble when those things were around. You know what I'm saying? So we want to know where has that gone?
That's a good question. I'm going to go back to, you know, having that one leg, you know what I'm saying, and that dysfunction. And so, you know, moms are working, right? Moms are trying to make ends meet. You know, she might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, you know what I'm saying, but she's trying to hold it down. It's those kinds of programs, municipal programs, city programs, state programs, whatever it might be, those kinds of programs that help to give us a crutch, right? Those type of programs help to extend the family out. All right. So again, talking about, you know, it takes a village, right?
Yes.
So those programs help to enrich the village, and I just have to be very direct. You know, those programs, many of them are not in place anymore. Things like drill team and double dutch, right? Remember that stuff?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
all over the place. You know,
it's just zeroed out.
And unfortunately, we have to bring it back. You know, those elders who are still around and remember.
Me, myself.
You see what I'm saying? I'm at Weaver High School right now, running a community school, and one of the things that we're talking about right now is bringing a drill team, and then, you know, we want that drill team to express itself in terms of competition with a drill team at Hartford High and a drill team over here, and we can bring community back around our culture. And so, you know, the attack on the family then went to the attack on the community, and so the reason why we don't have those programs is because the attack was very successful.
Okay. Another question Harvey wanted to ask you also. He said, this is dear to me too also. How often do you see a recidivism of young black youth going back and forth into the juvenile system?
Oh man.
You know, when I say recidivism to the public, to my viewers, when I say recidivism, I mean recidivism is the word that you will use in the criminal system for a person going back and forth to jail, getting remanded all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
What they would consider to be what they call
the revolving door.
Or
revolving door.
Repeated offender. But anyway, that question.
And it's amazing because I don't necessarily like to use that terminology, because again I understand that the real trap house, right, is not in the hood, right? The real trap house is Hartford itself. Hartford is a plantation, all right? And if we don't understand that on the plantation, right, you really only had two categories. You was either a quote-unquote slave owner, right, or you was a slave. And so it's not a coincidence, right, that Hartford, 18 square miles, most of it is park. We live in the park, all right? And so this is why our streets are Deerfield, Enfield, right, Vine Street, Edgewood. All of these names of streets, they have to do with the park.
Yo, it's funny. And that you, because I was just dissecting on that with my man Vic the other day, how you can see how all these streets are similar to their names.
Definitely.
But the way you just dissected and broke it down, I never thought about it like
I'm
that.
gonna give you another piece on that.
Like
but I wanna hit this piece about, you know what I'm saying, the revolving door. It really starts for us, and we see it after working with teenagers for 30 years, this thing around the school to prison pipeline. You know, and the school to prison pipeline is not something that you can put your hands on. You can't go into school and be like, oh, there's the pipeline. All right? No, it is a mindset and a system that truly exists in this fashion. Number one, it is the place where children who go to school meet policies that are not ready to address or understand the condition that they come from. And what I mean by that is the school's responsibility is reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's supposed to raise the IQ, right? But our children are coming to school with what we call a low EQ, the emotional quotient. So he didn't have breakfast in the morning. He heard gunshots last night. He heard sirens all through the night. Dudes is in the hallway hustling. Lady upstairs is getting beat. This child is suffering from what they call ACEs. And ACEs is a word that stands for adverse childhood experiences. Bottom line, these are the negative experiences that children experience every day. And the more ACEs you have, the worse the quality of life. And so the jail, if you will, or the school to prison pipeline is that thing where a child who has a low EQ bumps into zero tolerance. So it starts off with detention. That doesn't help them, right? Then it starts off with suspension. That doesn't help them. Next thing you know, expulsion. That definitely doesn't help them. And so before you know it, this young person, it's usually the males, right, is kicked out of school, and he goes from being a student now to being called a juvenile, right? All right, so now he's in where? He's in juvie. And so already his quote-unquote career in being criminalized is starting. And so it's a mindset. It's a mindset. They are actually, so you say, well, what is the crop that's being grown on the Hartford plantation? It's inmates. The crop that's on the Hartford plantation is inmates.
Yeah. Question for you. You know, most people don't know that you did time in correction too, right? When I say that, watch this. As a correctional officer, that is. You see, he did time in correction.
Did time,
but as a correctional officer, that's doing time for a black brother like him, such as himself, to see his other black brothers being captured.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? So what made you want to become a correctional officer in your heyday?
You know, DOC was a job. Amazingly enough, you know what I'm saying, my mom put some qualities in me, and then I used those qualities to get me a JOB, a just over broke, you know what I'm saying? And then you know what I'm saying? I had 2 children at that point in time. I had a 3rd on the way, right? And I was working downtown Hartford, and my mom, she came to me and said, you know what, there's a position inside the state. You don't have to take a test, you know what I'm saying, in the insurance department. She said, I want you to go after it. And so, you know, I took a little bit of paper that I had, and I got me a button up and a jacket and some shoes and so forth, and I went out there and I got it. I aced it, all right? And it was about 1 or 2 years into that job that I started taking these different tests in the state, and I took that public, I think it's called public safety, right, which is DOC. DOC and the fire department for the state of Connecticut. And, you know, I never would have thought that because only 24 months ago or less, I was on the field. You know what I'm saying? I was on the field, straight up. And, you know, I got the position, I took the position. I stayed in there probably for about 3, almost 4 years. And then I came out, and you know, I tell my students all the time, I came out because I wanted to deal with people who still had life versus people who have life. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yo, forget about that. But anyway, yeah. That was that was striking.
Yeah, that was.
What you just said about wanting to deal with people with life out here.
Yeah.
Instead of the people. And then you've seen a lot of things that I know with your intelligence, and I know you just things couldn't sit with you too much to see the what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out. Well, the harm they were doing to people for no your see people. The system. See the system, how they constructed things, and this ain't right.
Yeah. To see the system at work. You know, you hear about it, you read about it, but then to actually see it.
You was right there head on.
Yes, indeed.
Dealing with the truth in the song.
To you know, and then being a young man also, I'm in my 20s, you know what I'm saying, and seeing brothers from Hartford, New Haven, and Bridgeport, you know what I'm saying, that were the same age as me, that had 20 years and plus, 30 years and plus.
Could have been you.
Yeah, oh, without a doubt.
But good thing you had knowledge yourself, though, at that time, the junction in your life, though, to make you, you know, let me disperse from there.
I appreciate that, but I'm going to say this, by the grace of God go I. You know what I'm saying? Because that could have very, very easily been me in that cell, been me in that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I thank God for the opportunity to give back, right? So I didn't just want to say, oh, it missed me. I want to go back and fight the system.
Okay. Listen, I want you to give people your number and your place to be where they can reach you or come to visit you on Sundays at your
Indeed.
services.
Yeah,
like
indeed.
we and me and Rock came through here a few times.
So
and the Kwanzaa thing, I don't know if you're still doing the Kwanzaa in the wintertime.
Every year we try to keep the culture alive. You know what I'm saying, folks? They ask us, you celebrate Kwanzaa. So we don't celebrate Kwanzaa, but we try to keep the culture alive. You know what I'm saying? We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but at the same time, we give thanks,
of course,
and we do it through giving. And so the bottom line is that no matter what the so-called holiday is, we're going to turn it into something, an opportunity for our people. But every Sunday at 2550 Main Street, we have service. Doors open at 10:30 a.m. We start at 11 a.m. sharp, and we're right there at Main and Westland Street. For the last 6 weeks, I've been doing a part 1 and a part 2. So the first section or topic that we were dealing with was youth, right? Dealing with young people. And then we went in and we dealt with families and how the importance of building strong families as a foundation for the nation. And then the last 2 weeks, which is where we are right now, I've been dealing with the power of
unity in the community, the path to salvation. I don't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say that. Wow, I was going to ask that. Cause I be following you. You understand me?
Praise God.
Give them a phone number so they can reach you and converse with you.
Can be reached directly.
Especially single parents,
there you go.
mothers.
860-833-4288.
Once again.
Yep, 860-833-4288. I'm on Instagram, at Brother Lovejoy, bro.lovejoy. I'm on Facebook at Kelvin Lovejoy, and I would say my Twitter, but I don't think I know it all that good. But I think it's at Brother Lovejoy or something like that. But you'll find me. I'm the only Brother Lovejoy on Twitter.
Real fast, what do you think about politics? Because I think you'll make a good mayor.
Oh Lord,
and I definitely will vote. So that's why I actually have real fast.
So I'll tell you what I was taught, and I'll tell you something that happened just the other day. So number one, my big brother taught me that politics is really 2 words, right? Poly meaning many, right? And a tick, which is a parasite that sucks the blood.
Ooh.
And so, I'm not really into politics like that, you know what I'm saying? And someone said the other day when I was in a meeting, a gentleman, and he probably meant well, but he said, how many of you gentlemen have ever considered running for office? Room got quiet, right? So I just couldn't hold it back. It was burning. I said, never in my life have I thought about running for office, and I'll tell you why. The mayor is my employee. He works for me. The governor is my employee. The police chief is my employee. When I walk into a room, I'm not excited because the mayor is there. All right, the mayor should be excited because I'm there, and understand the position that he is a public servant, Thus, he has a responsibility and took an oath of office, right, to make sure that the people are taken care of. And and very quickly, in my instance, my understanding, I believe that you judge a city by its worst areas. And so if you want to see how good Hartford is doing, come on down to Enfield and Greenfield Street. You want to see how well Hartford is doing? Come down to Barber and Capon Street. Come down to Nelson Street. Go over to Park and Broad Street, and that'll tell you what your city is really doing. And so the mayor, I think we need strong mayors. I think we need to raise mayors. We need to use our livelihood, right, to put our votes behind young black and brown males and females who can be good public servants, right, and not just puppets of the system.
Kudos to that. I concur with you on that one. Yo, man, it's been a pleasure, man.
Time goes by fast, good brother.
Listen, man, we're doing our thing, but this was informational. You know what I mean?
Could I just very quickly?
Of course, raise that up.
So here is a sign that we've been using for a long. Now is the time to stop gun violence, right, in our streets. And when I'm out there in the community, yesterday I was at the Bellevue Square Family Day. I try to go to as many public events as possible and bring this message with me. you know. As well, you know, yesterday I was out on the corner with the Final Call newspaper, and for those who don't know, this is our newspaper, right? How many black bookstores do we have in the city, good brother? I think we got one, right? Maybe 1.5. True, I know definitely. That's my brother. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I tell people all the time. Look, this paper comes out once a week. It's 52 weeks in a year. That's 52 chapters. If you read this paper every week, you read 52 chapters of a book. It will change your life.
And not just read it, comprehend it.
Come on, man.
That's the main part. That's why you have read comprehension in your books when you just if you pay attention.
And then, you know, the bottom line is there's a difference between schooling and education. So, you know, tomorrow is the first day of school, right? And so children are going back to school. And I hear you, but schooling and education are two different things. You know, so I think we do some decent schooling in the city of Hartford, and we don't do a good job of education.
Education forever.
Come on.
You know? But yeah, we summed it up though. That was great, you know what I mean? we ain't go deep into your background. That would have been all day.
Oh, you know.
Saying how long I knew you and how I watched you as a positive force, you know what I'm saying, from afar. You know what I mean? Until I was able to hobnob with you as I got older, you know what I mean? Because you was always intriguing to me. Especially when you used to rock the crown.
Oh.
That was definitely. I'm saying he got on his head, Heyday coming out. You know, who's this guy here?
Yeah,
you know
brother.
You follow? But anyway, listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all. My man, the skipper ain't here today, but he's here in heart and mind. Break up. Love you, boy. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, I'm gonna leave y'all with a thought for the day from the one and only Frederick Douglass, right? Check me out though. It is easy to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. Can I say that once again?
Come on.
From Frederick Douglass. It is easy to build, matter of fact, it is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men.
Yes, indeed.
Ain't no more to it.
Yes, indeed.
But
brother,
reach out.
Love you, brother. My man.
You know what I'm talking about?
Love you, brother.
So we here. Give me that number once again.
860-833-4288. Right, again, Calvin Lovejoy, you find me on Facebook. Instagram, you find me at BRO, Brother Lovejoy. All right, Hill Hartford. All right, coming out this fall, and you'll see this across the city as we go into different schools. Right, and so, you know, shout out to all my young people out there. I love to come back, brother.
Of course, we'll have you again.
I appreciate it.
And like I said, he's just not reaching out to the young children, he's reaching out to the adults also as well. Yep. He's there to heal you guys also, if you want to be healed.
We have a methodology, right, that looks like, you know, we work with youth to connect with families, to change communities. So HEAL is actually an acronym that stands for Healthy Environments Activate Long Life.
Okay. In the words of Mr. Farrakhan, like you said the other day, I can only be me.
I can only be me.
Nobody can be you but you.
Love you, brother.
Love you like that. Integration. Peace for your black nation. We out.